What's up, guys? This is Better Than Static. We're a little short-handed this week, but I'm your host, Tyler, and with me, I have my buddy Lucas. What's up, Lucas?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just hanging out on this Saturday morning. Um, feel like I said, we feel a little like short-handed because Chris isn't here, but like I think that gives us opportunity to talk about a movie we both enjoyed. So we can make
Yeah,
this like a Rocky-themed, Creed-themed episode.
I'm down with that.
Because I know like your favorite new movie was probably Creed back in like when it came out, right?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite film franchise is the Rocky and Creed movies.
Yeah.
Like, hands down, no contest.
And like I guess we'll talk about, one, what's your favorite Rocky movie? Why? And then of the two new Creeds, which one's your favorite? And then we'll kind of talk about the new Creed one. Or should we do that reverse order? New Creed, then or I want to lead up into it.
Yeah, let's leave the new Creed for last. Let's go with just Rocky as a whole.
Okay. So what was the age, if you can remember the age of your first, like when you watched the first Rocky movie, or like your first Rocky movie? It doesn't have to be the first one.
I was 11, no, 12 years old, 6th grade, however old I was in 6th grade. I watched Rocky 1. I got the entire Rocky DVD collection for Christmas, and I watched Rocky 1 Christmas morning, and then I had the Christmas thing, and then I watched the other four after that night.
Which that would take you all night to watch all of them, right?
Yeah, so I was immediately hooked. Like, it was, which led to then my birthday that following year. I got a punching bag and gloves and all that stuff, and I boxed that at home for a long time
That's awesome.
until I pretty much outgrew it because I couldn't raise it up any higher, and I was like, I mean, it's probably a normal sized punching bag, but I'm not a normal sized human being.
Yeah,
So,
you're 6'7", 6'6", not average,
yeah,
a little over average.
right. So, like, the little thing that the speed bag holds up on, like, I could sit my chin on top of it.
Yeah, that's not gonna work for a speed bag.
So, yeah.
So for me, I think I watched the first one. It was in middle school, but I don't think it was sixth grade. I think it was eighth grade. I watched it with my dad. It came on AMC, because that was like the first time we had satellite, and like we were like, man, satellite's awesome. We get all these great movies. Because like on our cable, we never paid for AMC, so like we
Yeah.
thought AMC was like a big thing, and which I still enjoy AMC as a network. But I've watched Rocky 1, um, and it was like super late like when it got done, it was late at night, so I had to go to bed, and like there must have been like a marathon because when I woke back up, Rocky 5 was playing.
Yeah.
uh,
Rocky 5. I try to forget that whenever happened.
yeah. Um, but anyway, so I watched the first one. I think it's seventh or eighth grade. I can't remember when we got satellite, but I watched it with my dad, and I loved the first one. I'm like, this dude is awesome. He's super awkward, but he still gets the girl, and then he's an awesome fighter. He has everything. But
Yeah.
like it was like a moment between me and my dad. But I think so. My favorite movie franchise is either Star Wars or Indiana Jones, but Rocky is probably like he's in the top three. Like the Rocky series is in the top three. Um, so now, so what's your favorite one, Lucas?
Okay, so I have to clarify this a little bit. So the first one is by far, like, if I was just looking at it from a plot and, like, that kind of standpoint, like a critic's standpoint, the first one is by far the best.
Yeah, agreed.
But my favorite one, like, if I'm going back and I'm just watching a random one, it's got to be Rocky 4 because it is essentially just an hour and a half, 2 hour long Rocky montage.
And
And it
let's be honest,
just,
those are like that's the best part of every Rocky movie.
exactly. And you have, I think Ivan Drago is the most intimidating and scary, like, bad guy in the entire Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
And and whenever it came out, Cold War and all that kind of, just the whole, like, everything surrounding it. I don't know. It just makes it my favorite. It's just a fun watch.
Well, it's a
Goes
good one
out
too.
to
Like
the
you were talking
Russian.
about, or go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, like where he goes out into the Russian, like out into that barn with all the snow and everything, and he's working out with
Polly.
like horse carriages and like up on the balcony or whatever, doing crunches off the top of it and all that kind of stuff. I was just like, it's just so ridiculous that it's kind of awesome at the same time.
Didn't he like run it without a shirt in like Siberia, Russia?
I don't think he he didn't have a shirt. He took the chains off of the car that was set to follow him, and I want to say he wrapped it around his feet or something like that, or he did something with them, or he had like snowshoes on or something, and he ran up the side of a mountain.
Yeah,
And
it
he
was
ran
crazy.
all the way to the top of a mountain.
That was probably the
Yeah.
best Rocky montage ever.
Yeah, it was just so outrageous that it was awesome.
I'm trying to think which one's my favorite because that's tough. So there, like, 4 is really good and 1's really good, and I think 1 is my favorite because it's the first one I watched and it kind of like set the tone for the rest of them for me, and like
Yeah.
I felt like an enlightened middle schooler because I'm like, oh, nobody's ever seen the Rocky movies, but like in reality, everyone had seen the Rocky movies
Yeah.
most likely, but.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you didn't watch it till 8th grade, I probably watched all of them like 10 or 15 times by that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm like, man,
Except
I'm
for the
so
fifth
cool.
I've only ever watched the 5th one twice.
Well, I mean, the 5th one is not good.
No.
So when did Rocky Balboa, the Rocky Balboa movie, come out? Because that we were in.
2008?
I want to say we were. It came out like Christmas 2008 because I think we were freshmen at that point.
Yeah, I think it was 2006.
2006. Dang, I thought it came out later than that.
Yeah, I did too. Maybe that's why I went back. I mean, maybe that's why I went back and watched all the other ones in preparation for that coming out, because that would have been 6th grade. So that might have been why I got them for Christmas, to watch all of them.
Well, no, that would
for
have been if it came out in 2006, like around Christmas, for you to get the rest of the movies. It would have came like. Did it say month that it came out?
December 20th, 2006.
So you would have watched. You would have watched it in 7th grade if your parents like bought them for
No.
you for Christmas.
No, because that in preparation for it, so I would have gotten them in December 2005,
Okay.
I guess.
Maybe
And
I watched them in 7th grade 2006 because that's why they did the marathon on AMC.
possibly.
Oh my gosh, it's all coming together, Lucas. But yeah, that worked. So I know I used that movie a lot in like English class junior year
Heck yeah.
because that speech he gives his son is like full of like
It doesn't matter how hard you can hit, it matters how hard you can get hit and keep on going.
because like
I love it.
because I use that as evidence of personification, metaphor, and like a bunch of different things for like for one of my papers I did junior year of high school.
Yeah.
That one's
Yeah.
underrated. I think it's underrated, but like also that one's kind of dumb because he's super old, still fighting. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they kind of address it in the movie too, where it's like he's old, he's retired, he should never step in, and all that kind of stuff. And they also play to it where, the champion doesn't take him seriously, but Rocky takes it seriously. So whenever, I remember whenever he like takes his robe off to start the fight, the champion's corner's like, oh crap, he's here to win kind
Yeah.
of thing. And the champion's like, I mean, he's still in amazing shape, but he's not in like fighting shape kind of thing.
Yeah, he gets winded easily. He's not got the cardio for it.
Right. He doesn't take him seriously. So it kind of plays to that perspective where like one dude's not prepared for it and the other dude
Yeah.
is.
It's,
So it's
yeah, it's kind of like tortoise and the hare. Because like the tortoise
sure.
always stays focused, while the hare's like, "Oh, I got this," you know.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that makes sense.
But but for sure, let's say five is the worst, because Tommy
Oh yeah,
Gunn is just dumb.
Tommy the Machine Gun.
Yeah, yeah, that's the dumbest name ever. Um, okay, so now let's move into the rebooted. Well, not really rebooted. It just brought. Well, is it rebooted? So what's the difference between? Hmm.
I think a reboot would be bringing in all different characters and different, all that kind of stuff, but keeping the same somewhat storyline. I don't think this is a reboot.
I
I
think
think this
it's
is
just a
just
continuation.
yeah, like he's passing the torch onto the next generation
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So let's follow through to the continuation of Creed. Talking about Creed 1. I know when we were in college, it came out when we were sophomores or juniors of college.
My senior year, your junior year, 2015.
Yeah, yeah. So it came out then. I know we watched it all the time once you got it for Christmas. Because, like, anytime we got bored at your part, because, like, when you moved,
Such a
it's such a great movie. We went to see it on Christmas break. I swear we did. I'm pretty sure we did either Christmas or Thanksgiving break. I know we
Yeah,
went
I
to see
think
it
so.
together. We went to the Corbin Theater and saw it. It was so good. I think I snuck a Crunch Wrap into the movies at that point, but you know,
probably.
yeah, because Taco Bell's right across the road, and I don't pay for movie snacks.
I don't blame you. They're expensive.
Yeah, exactly. When I could get a Crunch Wrap for way cheaper. Not an ad. This is not an ad. I just remember the whole thing. I also snuck a Crunch Wrap into John Wick 2 with Chris. And then chicken fingers into Thor Ragnarok. But let's stop talking about all the food I've snuck into movie theaters. Okay, so what did you think of Creed 1? Probably the best continuation of all time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of another film franchise. I guess, I mean, the only other one that I could think of is Star Wars, where they had, a long break, and then they tried to kind of put out new movies with. I won't even consider the prequels because that's an easy target.
Yeah.
I'll even say The Force Awakens.
Yeah, which those came out like Creed and Force Awakens came out fairly close together.
Yeah, I think they were both in 2015. Force Awakens might have been 2014.
No, because I think I don't remember. I know I went to Woodhill on the premiere of it with a bunch of people from the BCM, but I don't remember what
It
year
came
that
out in
was.
2015 because there's been one every year. No, 2014 because there's been one every year. So 14 then was Force Awakens, Rogue One 2015, then The Last Jedi 16.
And then Solo 2017.
Yeah, Solo in 17. No, Solo came out this year.
Yeah,
So I guess 15 would have been the first
yeah.
one.
15 would have been Force Awakens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, I will agree with you that the Creed continuation, like new boot up, was better than Force Awakens.
Simply because it wasn't, like, to an extent, it was the same storyline where
Well, I
he
mean,
was,
but here's the thing: like that's all Rocky movies. Like, there's got to be a big fight.
right. But,
So, like, I think
they,
people when
the
you continue,
champion went and plucked him out of nowhere. I think uh, the only thing that makes it really worth it is because Rocky 1 didn't have this dynamic, but you had Apollo Creed's son and Adonis training with Rocky Balboa, a legend in the movie universe kind of thing.
yeah,
And then they were like, oh, well, this dude's for real kind of thing. So,
and another thing with like it is different, but it's still the same. Like all it's leading up to the same fight. And I think Force Awakens got a bad rap because it was almost the same movie, but I still liked it. Like I really liked Force Awakens.
yeah.
And like you've heard my whole argument of this, it had to be the same movie because they brought in all new characters, like pretty much all new main
Yeah.
characters. So you had to keep something the same where everybody got behind the movie, like the new franchise kind of thing. And that was like my whole argument with that. But like with Rocky, it was easier because you just have to like one guy, but you can still have the original guy in there, and it makes it easier for people to like it, and like you don't have to follow the same to the same story, even though the plot's
Right.
still similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because
But
there's still different like surrounding circumstances. It's not uh, like the first one. The Force Awakens was literally there's a giant spherical shaped Death Star. We have to go destroy it.
yeah,
But Rocky, Donnie's relationship with Tessa Thompson. I forget her character's
Bianca.
name. Bianca is different than Rocky's and Adrian's, where she's losing her hearing and all that kind of stuff. And Donnie's actually somewhat smooth, where Rocky was very fumbly and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Which, but like it's more personable. Like you get to know like the characters a lot better than in Star Wars, where it's like, oh, look at this shiny lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you know
yeah,
what I
and
mean?
like Rocky's an easier, like the Rocky series and Creed series are an easier movie to be like character development because that's what you're
Right.
here. You're here for that one character basically.
Right.
And Creed 1 did amazing because like as soon as it opens up, you're finding out about Donnie. Like you're like,
Yeah.
I'm already behind this guy. And I barely know him, you know.
Right.
And then he's training, but you're still getting more and more behind him, and it's super emotional in that fight. Like you can feel like it's just the tension's there. I think. Cause like I know like I was like that like in the original Rocky movie, and then Rocky 4 I was like that as well. The other two, like you said, I didn't get behind the characters much, like bad characters as much, but like
In the Rocky,
no,
Rocky 2 and Rocky 3 were both really good movies.
they were great. But like I liked Ivan Drago better. Like the first one
Yeah.
was more getting me to know Rocky, and then like the other two, like I know
Gotcha.
Rocky, and these are good fights, but like Ivan Drago, you actually got to hear like see more about Ivan, I think, than you did on the other two, like 2 and 3.
I don't know. I know Booker Lang, or Clubber Lang, not Booker, Clubber Lang, Mr. T. They did a lot of showing him as a mouth kind of thing,
Mhm.
like, which he backed it up. And I also liked because it was the first time they kind of had him fight for the first time. Like they fought like right at the beginning of the movie, and Rocky got absolutely destroyed. And then he, trained in like with Apollo to work on his speed and all that kind of stuff. And then it all led up to the fight at the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was really good. That was similar to what they did in Creed 2. But
Yeah, like that's what I was about to say. We need to talk about. So I don't want to spoil it, but like Creed 2 doesn't just pull from Rocky 4, which is where you get your villain, kind of like it pulls
Yeah.
from a lot more other and makes it more nostalgic. But Creed 1, like you get it. It felt like it paralleled Rocky 1 really well, and then like what was our thought before this? I think I said something about like you actually get to find out about the bad guy in Rocky 4.
oh yeah, the villain wasn't, or the bad guy kind of thing wasn't as flushed out. But I mean, in the second one, Creed was again the bad guy. So like Apollo Creed was the bad guy, so you already kind of knew about him from the first one. He was the champ kind of thing, and but the second fight was actually for the belt, whereas the first one was just an exhibition, like basically trying to cement Creed as the Apollo as the people's champion. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to give some nobody this shot at me just to prove that I'm a good, basically that I'm like I care about the people and I want to give people like good fights and all that kind of stuff. And then the second one, Rocky was coming for the belt.
Yeah. Which it was like, I think so. I still can't remember my thought of why I went to like the character development of
I don't know.
because like character development in Rocky is such a big thing. Anyways, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go
I
back to
think
Creed One. What did
I think Ivan Drago was the most like physically intimidating out of all of those.
Yeah,
Out of even like Mr. T, even though Mr. T was huge, Ivan Drago, you know,
he punched that robot thing and almost broke it.
yeah, he punched Apollo Creed and broke him.
Yeah.
Uh, but he's 6'4" and just like jacked, and Rocky doesn't come up to his chest pretty much,
Like
and
he's
just
basically
so
at the nips. Top of Rocky's
Yeah.
head is at Ivan Drago's nips.
yeah, he's just so physically, intimidating.
Well,
I
he's
think
he's
that's
an absolute unit. Like, dude's a hoss. But
yeah.
and I don't know. I think it was. I still can't think of what my thought was. But anyways, let's go back to Creed One. Creed One was great. It trumped the other continuation in its time. And like it had solid parallelism with Rocky One because you're developing your fighter and he's facing the champ, and now Creed Two came out. What's the transition from Creed One to Creed Two, Lucas?
So at this point, the transition is, before Adonis really wanted to just be in boxing, like box professionally. Creed 2, he's in it. He has the belt. He's kind of on top of the world. Is the transition from the first one to the second one. Everything's going right. Bianca's singing is starting to pick up and all of that kind of stuff.
So he's kind of like on the top of the world, and then
Yeah.
I don't like I want to say that the main villain isn't Victor. It's Victor Drago, right? That's
Yeah, Victor.
Yeah, Victor is the son of Ivan Drago from Russia. Like the bad guy, I feel like is the Buddy. What's his name? The promoter. Buddy.
Oh,
I can't remember his last name. I remember his first name's Buddy.
name.
But like I feel like he's the actual main bad guy because he's like setting up Donnie like to get just absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah. He's basically Don King, but in this movie.
Yeah. But like, so Buddy goes and finds Victor because Victor's boxing in Russia, but Russia has gone down. Like, boxing scene has gone downhill because Ivan lost. Like, the crazy thing to me is, however long the time from when Ivan Drago lost to like this movie, boxing never picked back up in Russia.
Well, it's not that boxing never picked back up. It's that as soon as Drago lost, they basically exiled him.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't. He lost his like favor with the government. They're like, you are no longer our champion. So I'm sure they tried to find a new champion.
Yeah.
But it never. I guess they never found somebody like
Drago.
Ivan Drago,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Which, like, I think when it starts, so like at first you see Donnie, he's on top of the world. He's come back to Philly to like, and just hanging out with everybody. Then you open up in Russia, and you actually get a lot of just exposition on Victor. Like, you can kind of read what's happened to Victor. Like, he's grown up in the slums because his dad lost, and they start that villain just build immediately in the movie, and I like it because it builds throughout the whole movie. Like,
Yeah, and it's and they do it really well because I know a lot of movies, the bad guy's the bad guy because there has to be a bad guy.
yeah, this one actually has some like. Some people
this
might
movie-
almost root for him because you feel
Exactly.
bad for him.
Yeah, because he's essentially like Victor. You're looking at Victor Drago. He's really, being raised by almost an abusive parent that is stuck
Only
in
going
the
to love him
glory
if
days.
he wins, and he doesn't even love him at
Exactly.
that point. Like, because he wins every boxing ring, boxing match he's in Russia, but he's still fighting for his dad's love.
Right, and that's Victor's standpoint, and Ivan's standpoint is Rocky ruined my life, so I'm going to basically returned the favor and tried to,
Well,
you
and
know,
it's not fully I'm trying to ruin you. It's I'm trying to get back on top. Like
yeah,
he's not. Here's
yeah,
the thing. Like you said, he's not the bad guy just because they need a bad guy. He's not even really a bad guy. It's just the guy you're rooting against. I don't know, like,
right.
because you're like, well,
Like,
you know,
there's a lot to relate to. Like, you look at him, he's in the slums. He's, they're basically, can't think of the word. I'm trying to, like, exile, but not exile, excommunicated
yeah,
or
it's
something.
like nobody cares about him anymore, and you're like, you
Right.
feel bad for him, and this is the first bad guy in any movie I've actually felt bad for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not rooting for him because you want Donnie to win, but like, look at all Donnie has versus what Victor has. Like, Victor works a manual labor job of moving cement blocks and wood. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
man, we need to help this guy out.
Yeah. And, which I'm going to go ahead and say this because I have a feeling that we're going to hit it before too long. We are moving into spoilers for Creed 2, so
But-
just a heads up.
It's also within the 2 weeks, so it's okay. Like, I
Yeah.
like that it just kind of happened that we got to talk about this episode because Chris doesn't enjoy movies except unless they're like Harry Potter. So I'm really glad. Like, this sounds bad. I'm glad Chris wasn't here so we could talk about Creed because I watched Creed last week and Lucas watched it the weekend we watched
Yeah.
the new Fantastic Beast movie. Like, it just worked out that we got to talk about it, and like the time frame is within our spoiler alert thing. But yes, we will get into spoilers. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good to bring out, Lucas.
Yeah.
But like Victor and Ivan, you almost root for. Like there's two good people in this, and they're just fighting. I want to relate it to Warrior.
Yeah, I could see that. That's where the two brothers
Yeah, it's
ended
MMA.
up fighting. Yeah.
And you're like, well, I want this guy to win because he lost his teaching job or something, or he wants to be a fighter. And then like you also root for Tom Hardy because he's got nothing. Like,
Right. He was the one that stayed with the abusive father and all that kind of stuff, and the other one kind of went out on his own and is trying to build a life for himself, kind of thing. If
Yeah.
I remember right, it's been a while
well, I
since I
think
watched
the
it.
mom and dad split, and the one brother went with the mom, became a teacher.
Yeah,
Tom Hardy's character stayed with the dad, and it was abusive father.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's like you can kind of see, like, neither one of them are technically the bad guy.
Yeah, because
But-
you just don't. The suspense is you don't know which one's going to win, and you don't know why you want the other to win. Like that's the
Right.
whole thing. Because it's not just conflict in the movie. You're like, well, who do I want to win? You know what I mean?
They do a really good job of being like, okay, who do you identify with, and that's who you'll root for.
Exactly. And in Creed 2, so it kind of let's go back to like it parallels so many of the Rocky movies. Like, Creed 1 paralleled Creed like Rocky 1. But Creed 2 kind of picks up the rest of the slack. Like, I know everybody's like, "Oh, it only parallels Rocky 4 cuz Ivan Drago's here." No, that's only where you get like your opponent really, cuz I feel like it
Yeah.
parallels 2 more because, he fights the guy the first time, loses.
No, 3.
Yeah. 2 is
3.
where he fights Apollo. Well, I guess Creed 1 follows Rocky 1 and 2. Kind of puts those in one movie. And,
Yeah.
and then this one's maybe 3 and 4, right? That's more accurate.
Yeah,
Because Rocky
Yeah.
1, Rocky's getting into boxing. Donnie's getting into boxing in Creed 1. But then, like, Rocky doesn't really fight the champ for the belt until Rocky 2. Well, Donnie fights for the belt in Creed 1, right? Or fights the champ?
let me try to simplify this because you've kind of lost me. So Creed 1 follows Rocky 1, I would say the closest, because he's kind of an unknown. He's fighting in Mexico. He has a professional record, but he's trying to basically find someone to train him in LA,
Yeah.
and nobody will, so he just kind of
Goes to Philly.
basically runs away to Philly and basically forces Rocky to train him. Yeah, so he just kind of shows up on Rocky's doorstep, well, actually, while he's unpacking a truck, and he's like, "Hey, Unc,"
Yeah.
and it just kind of uh, works out to where he trains him, and which I think his name is Adonis Johnson.
I think yeah,
Like
he's got his mom's
actually,
name. Like, well,
yeah,
yes, I think he takes up the mantle of Creed. Like
yeah,
he
he
knows
takes
he knows he's Apollo Creed's kid, but his name legally is Johnson. I think.
right, and because he tries to fight under that name, so people don't really know who he is, and then at the end of the movie with the payout, I think his mom shows up or sends uh, his dad's colors, or
Yeah, yeah,
his
yeah. In the
whatever they're
big
called.
in the big fight, they see like he sent his mom sends. Are they silks or is that jockey? That's jockey
I think
uniforms.
that's jockeys. Whatever they are,
The
the
robe,
shorts,
the robe and the shorts.
the yeah, with the creed and then the American flag shorts.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah,
Uh, uh, but yeah, so I think it more or less parallels. Anyway, that whole thing was the first one parallels the first Rocky movie.
yeah. And then
The
I guess
second one parallels the third Rocky movie. I
yeah,
think closest. There are aspects of all of them in each of them,
yeah.
but
So Creed 2, what my whole argument was like Creed 2 follows a lot more than like everybody's just going to think that it follows 4 because Victor Drago. But Victor Drago is just the opponent and it's not really the whole plot line. Like the whole plot line is so he's got to fight the guy, lose, and then figure out what he did wrong, like in Rocky 2 where Rocky's like fights him his own style but loses cuz he's not fast enough. So like Adonis is used to be able to hit hard and fast, and like be able to take hits, but he can't. Like so, he goes into that first fight of I can take anything this guy can throw. I'm gonna hit him hard and quick, but he loses because for one he can't take the hit, and two he doesn't use his speed to his fullest extent. Right?
so I took the fight differently. The reason why he lost the first fight, and it was more of a mental reason than it was a physical or skill standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Which I mean they set that up through the movie, but one he uh, like in the first 10 seconds of the fight where he's just walking around and jabbing him, keeping him at a distance, and all that kind of stuff. He plays into like his game plan of keep moving, don't stand toe to toe with him, all that kind of stuff. And then he immediately just like loses that. He's just like, okay, I'm just going to go in and kill this dude. And that's what he no longer fights with his technique or skill or anything. He just tries to street fight him. And wherever you try to street fight a boxer, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, and you're also definitely right about the mental thing because he had like so the whole movie's about like Don. Like I think the theme is you got to find something to fight for,
Yeah.
and like Donnie, didn't have anything to fight for because Rocky wasn't in the corner with him, and like he was just kind of fighting to not lose the belt, and that's not really a good reason. And then later in the movie, like the second fight, he's fighting to like he's fighting because he wants to prove himself, not because like he's not the champ, but because that guy killed his dad, and like that's like not Victor, but like Ivan, and like it's like I want to show that I am just as good a boxer as my dad, and I am
Right.
good, but also I'm fighting for my kid to make sure I don't die because
Right.
he has a kid in the movie. Like it's not. He doesn't have the kid till the end of the movie, but like the kid's there because it's in Bianca's belly. But yeah,
Right. Which he doesn't fight for that in the first fight.
Yeah,
He
'cause
only fights for revenge, basically.
yeah, and that's not like you shouldn't fight for that. I think that's the whole theme of the movie is you can't fight for revenge. You got to fight for something you like you love, like, and that's how you win. But also like in the second fight, you got Rocky back, and I think he refocuses. Like what's weird is Rocky is like your chakra. He's like, all right, bring it back in. We're gonna think about what you got. You got. He's like the heart of it, and I think that's always Rocky's character in any movie.
Yeah.
And like he's like the angel on the shoulder. Um, but yeah, okay. So yeah, we've got the reasons for he fought. We got the two fights. the differences of them. How do you feel about Creed's montage in this new Creed movie? Like, okay, so Creed 1 movie, I really liked the montage because it was like he's running through the streets of Philly, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know, that's Rocky 1.
It was very Rocky-esque kind
Yeah.
of thing.
This one, I feel like this one, this Creed montage is similar. It's like similar but different of like Rocky 4's montage. Like he's in the middle of nowhere training. You know what I mean? Like because
Yeah.
Rocky's in the middle of nowhere, Russia, but like I'm pretty sure Donnie's training in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. I want to think, or no, it's
Probably like Nevada or somewhere like that.
somewhere
He's in the desert.
Yeah, he's in the desert. So like, I thought that was awesome. I thought like, you know, remote places, very scrappy training, you know, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Like getting similar to like there was a transition from the first fight where Adonis was or Donnie was had all the high tech, the paparazzi, all the distractions, all of that kind of stuff, and where Victor was training, you know, basically like you said, moving wooden pallets and cement blocks, and then boxing in a rundown gym and stuff like that, where there was no distractions, nothing like that. And then after the first fight, it kind of flips where Rocky takes him out in the middle of the desert. You know, he's hitting the ground with a sledgehammer and all that kind of stuff. And then the distraction on Victor's side is more Ivan being distracted, trying to
Play it
gain
up.
favor with the Russian political groups and all of that kind of stuff, and the paparazzi and all that stuff. And Victor doesn't understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
So and props to the dude that played Victor. I think he's actually a professional boxer. He did really well, even though he only had just very few lines, but he did.
Well, his body language was really really
Yeah,
well
that's what-
presented, because like you could see what you could see is like you saw a child that loved their father but knew that wasn't the relationship they like always wanted, and then you could see like he would be more happier of having nothing than his dad love him rather than having everything and his dad be happy.
Right, and then him trying to like sell out, and because his dad wanted to get back with his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Let's say something. Apollo Creed's wife held up. Like she still looks decent. Freaking Ivan Drago's wife looks rough. Like she just looks weird.
You know, she was married to Sylvester Stallone in real life.
I did not know that.
During the fourth movie, they were married for 1 year. In 87, I think they got married at the end of 86 and were divorced at 88.
Wow.
In 88. Yeah. Just during the filming of the movie. And I think the release. But, yeah, I just thought that was funny.
I wonder who broke it off with who.
I don't know.
I like to think that Sylvester Stallone is like a stand-up guy in real life, but also, you know, he got the name Italian Stallion not from boxing. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of person Sylvester Stallone is in real life.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who broke it off with who. Maybe he was too much of a wild horse, and he in his.
You know, the Italian Stallion is Rocky's nickname, not Sylvester Stallone's.
No, it's Sylvester Stallone's too. You know how he got that name, right?
Apparently not.
Sylvester Stallone had an adult film career.
I know this.
His nickname was Italian Stallion in that film career, and they just brought it to Rocky.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain. Like I'm pretty sure. Almost positive.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
And if not, you can message me or email me in after the episode, but listen to the rest of the episode, don't just pause it now. But anyways, that was like a little rabbit hole we followed that like the like Ivan Drago swept from the movie and Rocky Horror Married. I don't know, whatever. But anyways, so like I think the like I'm not gonna say like he needs to go do more film, but I think he did like the real life boxer that played Victor Drago did a really good job in Creed 2.
The title of the movie he did, the alternative title is Italian Stallion.
See, I told you. I'm
There
not
you
gonna
go.
say I know this because of my roommate in college, my freshman year roommate. He told me, and I didn't believe him, and then I looked it up. I was
Yeah. Oh, I've known he. It was just one movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew that. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
back on track. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess like we fleshed out Creed 1, Creed 2, all the Rocky movies and stuff like that we enjoy. Let's give this a score. Like what is your overall thoughts on Creed 2?
It was a really good movie. The ending was very. I do want to say, if you go watch this movie, it's very early in the movie, I think, but he goes to visit Adrian, and if you're not familiar, Adrian's been dead in the movie franchise since Rocky Balboa 2006 film. But he goes to visit her, and Polly and her graves are right next to each other. He places the flowers on her grave, and whenever he sits down to talk to her, it's kind of in the side of the screen, but he has a bottle of Four Roses for Polly, and I saw it, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. I don't know why, but I was just like,
Product placement?
they did it. No, because he always brought Polly a bottle of Four Roses in the old movies.
See, I
So
didn't
it was
realize
like
it was
that.
always Four Roses. I thought it was just he brought like some kind of like alcoholic
whiskey
beverage.
or
Yeah.
bourbon or whatever. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know if it was always Four Roses in the old films or not, but the point was he brought him a bottle.
Yeah, like they kept
Even
that
though-
thing that they kept it the same. They did a really good job of keeping everything straight of like who Rocky is and stuff.
Yeah, and then, but yeah. Anyway, I thought it was really cool to pay respect to a character that could have easily have been forgotten.
Yeah, because
But it shows that.
Polly is definitely a cool character,
Yeah,
and like you're
Well, I
right,
mean,
he's
he's
overshadowed a
Adrian's
lot.
brother.
Yeah, Adrian's brother.
So I mean, I just thought it was cool to play, tribute to Polly. But anyway, overall thought of the movie, it's a great movie. I really want to go watch it again. In fact, I've been thinking about buying a ticket for tonight or tomorrow morning and going and watching it again by myself. So even if you're not super familiar with the Rocky movies, or even watch the first Creed movie, like I think you could go out and watch this one and not be totally lost.
Well, and another thing is it's an actual good movie too. Like even if you aren't
Oh
a Rocky
yeah,
fan,
yeah, it can be the starting point because it's not heavily reliant on any of the other ones. It does a good job of even explaining why Ivan is angry at Rocky and the world, essentially. But so it's a good point to, if you like this movie. In my opinion, it's probably top. I mean, how many Rocky movies are there at this point? 8?
Well, there's the
7?
five, then Rocky Balboa, and then Creed 1 and
6,
Creed 2.
7, 8.
So 8.
Yeah, 8. So it's probably it's probably fourth or fifth best out of those 8. Maybe a little higher. I just did that really quick without thinking about all of them. But so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a really good movie. The ending, I was very sad at the ending.
I don't
So
know.
it was very like
I think it
like
had a
happy-
happy ending. It was a happy
Not-
ending.
happy, like happy sad. Like I was like, yeah, but at the same time, I was like, oh, that's very sad.
Yeah, like some of it is like sad. It's like you're happy he got to the point he did with his dad.
You're right.
Well, like both fighters, because like both fighters kind of had some dad issues. Like Donnie living in his dad's shadows, but still loved him. Victor loved his dad, but his dad kind of only wanted to use him. But in the end, like both of them were like, Donnie's like, all right, me and my dad, he's a great fighter, I'm a great fighter. We have our own names, and I still I love him, and he's loved him all through.
Right. He's
And
no longer living in the shadow.
yeah,
And even Rocky going and seeing his son and grandson.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Or his
yeah.
grandson for the first time and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a very heartfelt. It's not. It's not just a like boxing action, all that kind of stuff. There's a really good story and message behind it
yeah,
of
it's awesome. Like it's
knowing what matters in life, kind of thing.
exactly. And like if you cannot respect that message, I will fight you in a boxing ring because it's such a beautiful message and they portray it very well. And let's just say, I don't want to say it, but I may have felt some things and might have cried and teared up. Like I know my mom teared up. Like I took my mom to the movies to go see it, and like my mom hadn't seen Creed 1, but she had seen most of the Rocky movies. So like that gives you kind of a, like anybody can go see this movie and enjoy this movie. Like it's got a great message, it's a good fight, well done, very well done movie. I would bump it up to better than maybe fourth best. But like you said,
Yeah,
that was
that's why
quick.
I
But
was
yeah.
just throwing that out
Yeah.
out of the top of my head because, I mean, I don't like I said for me, Rocky 4, Rocky 1, 2, and then 3. Well, even you got Creed 1 in there too. So, like, there's like a lot of them that's like pretty much at the same level
Yeah.
for me. So it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a great continuation. Like Creed 1 and 2 are both just great movies that follow the Rocky, like they're their own series, but they also like I don't know, like you're not getting the overtaste of Rocky in all of them. Like they know like sure they say Rocky was the champ and he's training Donnie, but it's not about that. It's about Donnie's great. And I like that. I like that
Yeah.
notion of it because that's really good. Overall thoughts for me: great film. Already said it. Great message. Anybody can go see this movie. Like I said, I took my mom and she hadn't seen Creed 1, but she still knew and she still like she got nostalgic in it. Like one thing I know, she like this wasn't like a very nostalgic thought, but like she's like she looked at me and said, in this fight, if like Donnie's eyes swell up like Rocky's did, I might have to close my eyes because she thinks that like that's gross. And like I thought that was awesome because like she can still remember the Rocky movies, and then she also acknowledged this was a great movie and a great film she wanted to watch. But
Yeah.
Overall thoughts, I guess.
Was it during the? It was during the Drago fight where Rocky tells him to cut him,
Yeah, cut it.
where because his eyes were so swollen, he was like, cut him, so I can see."
Yeah.
And they take a pocket knife and.
Well, no,
cut
they
'em
take a
so
razor.
or a razor, yeah.
Because like
And cut it to where it opens up.
because when stuff swells, it's like fluids in there, so they have to release the fluid
Yeah.
to really reduce the swelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty grody.
Yeah, it was this. I forgot that happened until you said that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." Because I mean, even like I watch a lot of stuff that's like very violent and gory.
Like Dexter,
in
you watch
movies.
Dexter.
Dexter's not gory.
He stabs people in the heart, Lucas.
Yeah, but they don't like show it. I mean, he definitely does it, but it's not like. I don't know. It's not like Game of Thrones is
Or
what I
like
would
Punisher.
more or less
Punisher,
compare it
like the
to.
Netflix show Punisher is pretty like
Or
gruesome at some movies. Or some
Punisher
parts.
Warzone, the
Yeah,
actual
Punisher
like the
Warzone is-
last
yeah, it
is
was-
very but like them cutting his eyes to release that's one of those that I remember that's I like cringed at because
You're just like, oh,
I
God.
couldn't
Well, like
imagine.
here's the thing: eye stuff in general is just like it's tough. Like I had put contacts in and stuff, and like still like that's anything people do to their eyes, like flip their eyelids out or like cut the swelling.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just rough.
I've had mine cut right. I mean, basically right where they cut it all the way across in 7th or 8th grade. I got elbowed playing basketball, and it just split my eye open, like
Oh,
my
gosh.
eyelid.
Yeah,
And I just remember that happening, and how much blood and everything immediately came out of it, and that might have been why I was so cringy at it, because I just remembered like getting hit, covering my face, and then not realizing it was cut, and turning around being like, okay, I'm good, and then somebody going, holy crap, you're bleeding, and I was like, no, I'm not, and I looked down at my shirt, and it's just like covered, and I was like, oh crap.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
No, but yeah.
But anyways, great movie. Go see it. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Like, I know we were kind of around, like, me and
Yeah,
Lucas,
we were a
like,
little everywhere.
Yeah. Me and Lucas love Rocky, and like, there's so many good aspects to bring out of any Rocky movie and stuff. And like, me and Lucas just talk when we review movies. Like, that's how it is. Like, this was a very genuine conversation between me and Lucas of just like what we like about movies, and like one in particular. I know like last week's was a little bit more structured, I guess, of a movie review. And that was because like we had a list of stuff we didn't like, and like when you like stuff, it's hard to put that in a list and be like, I really like this, but because I liked this, it connected to why I liked this, and then we have to go back to the original. It was rough, which we're sorry, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it.
And to say this again, I watched Fantastic Beasts the night before I watched Creed, and I think watching Creed made me angrier at Fantastic Beasts than I would have been if I just watched Fantastic Beasts, simply because I went from watching a very convoluted and confusing movie to watching a very well put together movie, and it made me realize a lot of the flaws that were going on in that movie with this other movie.
Well, to be honest, like Fantastic Beasts had a lot of stuff to tie in too. Like Creed 2 like had one line, like one plot line.
Yeah, and that's what Fantastic Beasts should have been.
You know what, look, Lucas, we've already critiqued it. We
I
can't
know,
go
that's
back.
what I'm
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, if you're in between watching a movie, go watch Creed 2 instead of Fantastic Beasts. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know I did. If you enjoyed it, definitely go tell your friends about it. Like, subscribe, share, wherever you're watching this or listening to it, watching or listening. Thank you. We appreciate you. We can't do this without you guys. We will catch you guys next time. Hopefully this episode's been better than Static.
My name is Katie Cakes, and I am the host of Cake Bites, a podcast adventure through gaming history. I am just inviting you to come along with me on that journey while I interview people who have worked in and around the industry for the last 30 plus years to learn about their experiences and their perspectives, to learn more about an industry that is continuously evolving. I hope you guys will join me every 2 weeks when I release a new episode of the show on all major podcasting platforms. You can learn more about the show at cakebites.com.